Yeah, the animation is still mid as hell. Got that? Good. Let's move forward. This was yet again another incredible season of. I don't know how they do it. Every season, they just keep improving and getting better. And season 3 was no exception to that rule. This was by far, in my opinion at least, the best season of. Everything that was built off of season 2 finally had its payoff here. And man, did it fucking slap, bro. Again, just to get the main criticism of the show out of the way, the animation does continue to be a big fumble in what is an otherwise perfect series. Invincible's writing is so good, and it's just such a shame that the animation can't keep up with that quality. And I'm aware of the studio's situation, they only have like 10 people working on an episode or something, so I'm not just gonna trash on them for not delivering on that aspect, but at the end of the day, this is basically the Mona Lisa and then someone just took a big shit on it. Hyperbole, obviously, it's not like the animation ruins the show by any means. If anything, it doesn't even take away much from it because the writing is just that damn good. Which is why I'm just so goddamn tired of people bringing up the animation like it's an actual point of justification for why is a bad series. Like, no shit, Sherlock. Congrats, you figured out what people have been saying since the beginning of the first season. Like, grass is green and your ass is unwashed. What do you want, a sticker? Nobody watching past season 1 is focusing on the animation. At the end of the day, at its core, isn't an action show. It's a show about character struggle, character growth, finding identity, knowing what's good and what's bad, about morality. It's very philosophical in nature and it's very character driven. That's what this show is about. So who the fuck cares whether something is super well animated or not? Sure, it elevates your enjoyment of the series and the action scenes, of course, but this isn't Jujutsu Kaisen or Solo Leveling. It doesn't need that. It's not a necessity for the story that it wants to tell. But that's not to say the animation was bad for the entire season. I think there were 2 or 3 episodes in there which were definitely highlights, especially the last 2 episodes. I think they did a great job there. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about season 3.
So the season starts off with Mark. He's finally wore his big boy pants. He's ready. He's been training for 3 months. He's stronger than he's ever been. Until he wasn't, because he got his ass kicked by the same person he beat in season 1 and 2.
You're not supposed to be this tough. You're not supposed to win.
Things change.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on.
This situation made no goddamn sense. Invincible really is the only show where it would have its main character go through a whole ass training arc just for him to get beaten up by the person he already beat in the previous 2 seasons just because he has to get his ass kicked on the first episode. Like, look, I get it. The writers hate Mark. He can't go a single episode without getting his ass handed to him and turned into an omelet, okay? But this whole situation was just a tiny bit redonkulous. Yes, I'm using that word unironically here. I brought out the hard R because this situation just went beyond ridiculous. It's not like Dr. Seismic got stronger. He's not some Galactus level threat. This dude is just an old man with fucking schizophrenia. Like, how you gonna have him take down basically every single hero, at least in America? He took care of everyone. He almost destroyed the world. And then you have Reanimant come in and break everyone out. When Mark beat those same Reanimant, is there something I'm not understanding here? But all is forgiven because that entire situation was the catalyst for Mark versus Cecil, which is one of the best moments of the series in my opinion. And this is where season 3 really starts to kick off. I think a series is at its most interesting whenever it tackles the morally gray. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think that Cecil was more correct in this situation. But that doesn't mean he was entirely correct either, because he really wasn't. Now, I'm not going to debate why I think Cecil was more right in the situation. I'm pretty sure people already had enough of that online. But whether you side with Mark or Cecil, I just believe that in general, both of them were right and wrong at the same time. I just think that's the simplest answer. There is no objectively correct one. And the reason why it's so heavily debated in the first place is a testament to that. I think that's my favorite part about season 3, how it goes about tackling these very morally gray situations to further Mark's growth as a character. Because we see in Cecil's flashback that he adopted or had the same mindset and ideals that Mark did at this point in time. However, he went through so much shit and he learned that maybe that mindset was wrong. He can either be the good guy or the person that saves the world. He can't be both. And that is the crux. That is the moral of the season. I love that line so much because it encompasses what season 3 is about so well. I've seen a lot of shows and none of them tackled this type of character progression like Invincible has. Most character arcs have the character be a good guy or start as a bad guy and then turn to the opposite thing. They go right to the opposite end of the spectrum. But Invincible doesn't do that. Mark, by the end of this season, though he has broken his code, he's still very much the same character holding more or less the same ideals, except now he's taken it to a bit more of an extreme degree. I've seen some people call a few episodes in this season, or maybe even half of it, filler, but I completely disagree with this notion. I feel like filler has really lost its meaning. Sure, the plot maybe didn't progress as much as previous seasons, but every single encounter Mark had here served as a way to further his growth into him breaking his code. I feel like they really wanted to concentrate on that for this season to make it feel as natural as possible, and they really did succeed at that. Can Mark still call himself a quote-unquote good guy after all the countless deaths he's caused? Even ones caused by him indirectly makes him doubt whether that's actually something that he is anymore. From killing on accident, to being forced to kill someone that wanted it, to finally killing for the greater good. Every situation made him question whether he's actually a good person or not, whether he's actually a good hero or not. And all that ties back to the main moral message of the season.
You can be the good guy, or the guy who saves the world. You can't be both.
That one sentence was the entire point of this season, for Mark to choose whether he wants to stay as the good person or become the person that saves the world. And we see how throughout this season, every single encounter, every interaction he had with anyone, be it friend or foe, got him one step closer to coming to a conclusion, to dropping this idealistic vision of what it meant to be a hero. And the foil to Mark's entire philosophy is our favorite kid sociopath, Oliver. I think Oliver is a great addition to the show. Aside from the fact that he took down the Mahler's twins, which I don't think I will ever emotionally recover from that. But aside from that, I think they just have such a great dynamic here where Oliver is always questioning Mark's decisions, and they make a really interesting thing happen here where Oliver doesn't fight back against anyone else. It just has to do when it comes to Mark, because he knows that Mark is the only one that has the ability to make actual change happen, not these wannabe civilians like his mom. So he argues with Mark. He tells him, why don't you just kill the bad guys? Because if you kill them, the net negativity or the net violence or net number of deaths will drastically drop. And that is exactly what happened. Mark, because he didn't go through with killing Engstrom, he came back and just fucked everything up. He took a big dump on everything that Mark stood for, and that was really the turning point where he finally changed. He realized that all this contemplating that he did in the previous season, where he was so devastated that he actually took a life and broke his code, even though it was on accident, he realized that he should have done that. He shouldn't have just mulled over, no pun intended, he shouldn't have just mulled over all the decisions that he made, because in the end, what did it result in? It resulted in more deaths because he didn't go through with it and didn't finish off Engstrom. Now, I don't think Oliver is right in every single scenario, because we do see in this season how there are these two crooks that become villains just because they have to. They really have no choice. They attempted to live a normal life, but society just didn't allow that to happen. So there are scenarios where the bad guys aren't actually bad guys, but obviously that's not the case with the Mahler twins or with Engstrom or Conquest or these people like that mass murder a bunch of people. These high-end crooks, these high-level threats, they shouldn't be allowed to exist because their existence can only result in more death. So yeah, I love this stance on how Oliver isn't treating these villains as normal humans. He's actually going through and killing them, getting rid of these pests that infest the world. It's pretty tiring when you have all these heroes that have these codes they have to abide by, and the author is trying to hammer home the message that if you kill this villain, you are the villain. You are not better than he. You are on the same level. That stance just does not compute with me. In what world are you a worse person than a psychopath mass murderer or a rapist or a pedophile if you kill them? These people, in my opinion, don't deserve human rights. They deserve to be hung in the stake. Return to monkey, if you will. They boot these people out of the world. They don't deserve to exist. So yeah, I'm just really glad that Invincible didn't take this super cliche route. But this does mean that Cecil was right. Mark is taking favoritism here because he's not treating these villains in the same way that he would his dad. At least he didn't before in the previous season. So I'm really curious to see if this change that he went through changed his stance on that at all and how he would treat his dad once he comes back into the story. Which he will be, seeing as how he broke out with Alan the alien. We did get a little bit of them with Nolan and Alan, but I wish we got more. But this blooming friendship between them is something I wasn't really expecting. And I just love how it's going, how Nolan is this tsundere type character where he doesn't want any help and he just wants to die. But he kind of started to care about Alan because he cared about him and wanted to break him out. And he's just a super chill guy. So yeah, I love their dynamic there as well. Aside from Mark's progression as a character, this really was the season of developing relationships. You have Debbie and Paul, this super ordinary guy that just came into this fucking fuckfest of a family where he's dealing with superheroes and he's in a super awkward position where he doesn't know how he's supposed to interact with these people. It's just so funny. I love Paul. I hope nothing bad happens to him. And then you obviously have Nolan and Alan's relationship, probably the best friendship duo of all time. I mean, their fucking friendship started by fist bumping in space through a Viltrumite skull. It doesn't get more raw than that. And then obviously you have the main couple of the show now, Mark and Eve. I think they are a good couple. I'm not going to say they're the best I've seen or anything, but I do enjoy their presence together. It's infinitely better than whatever the fuck Amber Turd was. So I'm glad we're done with that shit. Oh, and then you have Rex and Ray. Their relationship was something I really wasn't expecting, but man, was it a treat. And it's just so evil what they did at the end there. So they put Rex through this whole... He survived a bullet through the head, right? So he tries to reform his life, sees all the bad shit he did, what a bad person he was, and he tries to turn it around. And he really starts doing that. He takes steps towards that, trying to change and be a better person, a better version than himself that he was before. And I know from experience, and I'm sure many others have as well, change is hard. It's a really hard thing to do to get out of something that you like doing or the person you once were. It's just so nice seeing Rex actually change and improve until, they took him away. It's so evil, man. It's so evil. I was enjoying seeing this relationship blossom, him finally finding consolence, being happy. And then, yeah, you guys know, I don't need to say it. Well, that does lead me to my biggest complaint of this season, and I guess Invincible in general, the fake out deaths. Not really fake out deaths, is them bringing people back. Like, you have Angstrom coming back, you have the Mauler twins constantly coming back, you have Rex even came back from a bullet to the head. So many people just keep coming back that it lessens the weight of them going away. So Rex's whole story, even though I did love what they did with him, and the end where he should have had a more impactful death, I didn't feel like it really hit me. Like, I was sad and shocked when it happened, but it could have been a lot better in my opinion. Now, I think the reason why it wasn't all that was because of the Invincible War itself, actually. It was, in my opinion, probably the weakest part of the season, aside from episode 5. Because even though it was conceptually really cool, I think there were way too many missed opportunities. So you have all these other Marks coming into the real Mark's world, going around causing havoc, destroying a bunch of shit. And the real Mark is obviously fucking confused. He's like, the fuck is going on? Like, there's only one person that can do this, and it's Angstrom. But we don't really get a proper dynamic between the marks, and that's really bugging me. So, like Mark doesn't question why they're doing this, how can they be so different, what happened in the other Marks' past for them to be so twisted. We kind of just gloss over everything. And that was really unfortunate, because the way people were gassing up the Invincible War, I expected a lot more, to be honest. It felt like this whole thing should have at least been stretched into 2 episodes, at the very least. Speaking of Angstrom, though, this dude is a hater, bro. I've never seen a bigger hater in my... Actually, that's not true. Powerplex. Put these two in a room. I have no idea who's going to win this hating competition, but this fight will be generational. So, Angstrom is a T1 hater, bro. This dude went around, grabbed the worst marks in history, and brought him into the only world where there's a good mark, just to ruin his life. I thought Angstrom was bad before, but this just took it to a whole new level. He even went into the world, the Sinister Mark. I'm pretty sure that was the same mark that was in the original Angstrom's world that killed all his people and everything. He even brought that motherfucker. He even brought him. Holy shit. This dude is... Oh, we already know he's insane, but this is just... I don't even know what to call it. This is beyond hatred, bro. And then you have Powerplex on the other hand, where he just blames Mark for literally everything. Any minor inconvenience that would pop up in his life, he would blame it on Mark. If he fucking took a shit and it was too hard, he would say it was Mark's fault somehow. Invincible is behind this. He can't keep getting away with this. Yeah, this dude is just... He's just something else. He makes this whole elaborate plan to get rid of Invincible, as if getting rid of the #1 defender of your fucking planet is a good idea. Never mind that. His whole entire plan was to lure him out, using his wife and child. Great idea. Okay, use them as a hostage, sure. Bring them to the most inconvenient and hazardous area to fight in? That is... I applaud you, good sir. That is quite genius. I did not think of that one myself. This truly is a decision beyond human comprehension. Even putting all that aside, he goes through with trying to kill Invincible. Kills his own family. And still finds a way to blame it on Invincible. You fight them, bro. You're the one who did this. You planned this whole thing. You made this situation happen. He's so blinded by hate that he even... I swear to God, I don't know if I'm interpreting this correctly or not, but this dude was probably so blinded with hate that he purposely killed his wife and kid just so he can blame Invincible, just so he can have more of a reason to hate him. I honestly don't know, because there's no way he fried his family and then just recovered from it almost immediately. That had to subconsciously at least be part of his plan. These two dudes, Angstrom and Powerplex, oh, I don't even know what to say, bro. They're something.
Yeah, maybe the Invincible War didn't live up to the hype. But you know what did?
I am so lonely. All the other Viltrumites are scared of me. No one talks to me. No one wants to be my friend. They think I am unstable.
I mean, yeah, I don't think that's a thing. That's more of an is. But yeah, anyway, what an incredible fight. I think this was probably the best fight in the whole series. Or not even fight, just in general, the best episode out of the entire series. Maybe outside of episode 1 of season 1 or the finale. But this was definitely my favorite fight overall. From start to finish, this episode was incredible. Episode 8. I just love Conquest as a character, man. He's this absolute tank of a unit that comes out of fucking nowhere to make Mark's day even worse than it was already. This man's been through the gutter and back, and now he's gotta deal with this shit. When Conquest put Mark to the ground and just started telling him his life struggles so he could take it with him to his grave,
That was some bone-chilling stuff, man. I got goosebumps just like rewatching that scene. Here's a quick little analysis of it, though. I don't know if I'm looking too deep into it, but if you pay close attention, there's a very peculiar stylistic choice that the writers, or maybe the storyboard artists, used here. They really focused in on Conquest's blind eye. Now, why is that? I believe that Conquest actually, everything he just said to Mark about his struggles and how he has nothing, no friends, or he's unstable or whatever, he always had the ability to achieve what he wanted, but he simply chose not to. He's blind to the fact that he's only lonely because he made himself feel that way. I don't know if I'm looking too deep into it or anything, but that's how I interpreted the scene. Anyway, his presence alone was enough to make this the most emotional and tense episode of the entire season. Every time he was on screen was just a joy and led way to one of the most breathtaking performances, voice acting performances I should say, by Steven Yeun. He fucking snapped. What a mind-blowing performance.
I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how fast you are. I can see the future. You don't live to see tomorrow.
That line right there, it had more potential to be cringe than I was in high school. It could have easily turned out to be super fucking corny. But Steven Yeun made it work. He delivered on that line perfectly, and he didn't just deliver on it perfectly. He just completely destroyed how good that line delivery should have been. That was just unreal. Now, earlier I said that I was on Cecil's side about everything. There is one thing in this season that really bugged me and I'm completely against. Keeping Conquest alive. What was Cecil thinking? Not only is there already a precedent for Viltrumites surviving any sort of contraption or explosion you made, this shit is not gonna hold him. At least there should be some contingency plan like you put on Mark in case things go haywire so you can stop him. I mean, it's not like anything's stopping you from implanting that chip or whatever into Conquest right now, seeing as his head is split open. So there's really no excuse why Cecil isn't taking that precaution. I get from a strategic point of view, he doesn't know about the Viltrumites and how few of them are actually left. So taking in one as hostage makes sense to me, to gather info out of them. But what doesn't make sense is not making absolutely certainly sure that Conquest won't survive in any scenario possible. Because this bomb thing that you put him through right now, I bet you money, I bet you all my bank account right now, even though it's like 5 cents, that Conquest will come back and will be alive because of this blunder. Cecil is smarter than this, and we've seen him be smarter than this. So I really hope that next season there's an actual reason why he did this and made this decision instead of putting that chip inside Conquest's head. Like he did that in his headquarters in the White House. He even had it on the outside. So he obviously uses this device or this contingency a lot. But for this scenario, for whatever reason, he just did not do it. And it doesn't make sense at all. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about Invincible Season 3. I still really enjoyed this season. I loved Mark's progression and all that. So overall, I give it a 9.3 out of 10. I don't even watch cartoons like that, and I think Invincible is still a must-watch for pretty much everyone. The writing is just so good. But yeah, that's about it. Like, subscribe, all that jazz, or don't, and I will see you all in the next one. See ya.